Hey guys, Azrach here and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another KO action figure review, and I know I haven't done this in a while, but I really wanted to review this CT Toys Byman action figure because this has been one of my favorite action figures for a really long time, and all the action figures I make is because of how good this Batman originally was. Obviously the blue one that I got first. This was a reissue in a recolor, or at least this was a reissue in a recolor from Mafex. But this figure and the blue counterpart has been absolutely amazing. Staples in my display, and I still really love how this Batman looks. So when CT Toys decided to make this action figure, I was really happy because I wanted to get more bodies if I could, to do customs or to have spare parts or whatever. But we're basically going to compare the two of these figures, see how they stack up with each other, if this is any good, and I will possibly also look at if the parts are swappable. I'm not going to go down that route too much today because I don't want to break this very new action figure, which is still sealed in box. But yeah, we're going to open them up and do some comparisons. But I really wanted to go through and look at this action figure because CT Toys also claim that the height has not shrunk, because as you may have already kind of seen in some KO figures, because they recast or remold the figure, the height kind of shrinks a little bit and the parts are a lot smaller. So they say that they haven't shrunk anything down. So let's see if that claim holds true. Let's look at the colors, the articulation, everything on these figures, and we'll go through them in a lot of detail today. So first off, let's look at the packaging. Both of these are very unmistakable. CT have their logo down at the bottom there. They're using 126 as the action figure number, which is also correct for the Mafex version because that is 126 as well. But I think that they just use that to keep track of what figure they copied. Anyway, the boxes are very different. This is a more shorter box, but it's very deep, because they have like the gargoyle stand and everything sitting in the back here. Although they could have probably done with a smaller box, they just chose to do a really big box. But yeah, it's very distinguishable. The CT Toys has the same Batman from down here, but the colors are obviously a little bit changed. This has a more clear kind of look to it, whereas this kind of looks like a little bit darker. The windows are very similar because they've got very similar cuts going around, but there's no official DC logo here, only the CT logo at the bottom. And also this has a lot of other logos like Medicom Toy, everything else DC as well. The tops look fairly similar as well. So this one has the same image but a wider crop. And this also says Byman, but Hush is spelled correctly here. Here you've got Mafex and some other logos, also calls it Batman Hush Black version action figure, whereas this is nothing here. On this side of the box, we've got the same image here, but this one has better colors. This one looks a little bit darker, and we've got the Byman here again. Just a weird misspelling, but they're probably getting away with copyright kind of issues. They've spelled Hush correctly here, which is surprising. But yeah, it's not too much of a big deal. On the other side, we've got the box came a little bit squished because of how it was handled by shipping, but it was packaged really well. There was a lot of plastic bubble wrap around it, and I think it came very decent, but there was a little bit of squishing going on. Here we've got the official Batman Hush DC, all the logos. Image looks crisp. Here the image is darker again, and also spelled incorrectly. Only says 126 down here, whereas this has more logos and everything else. At the back here, again, more copying going on. Exactly the same image as the official version uses, but printed slightly darker or probably on worse paper. There's some details missing here. And there is some terms and conditions, but written all in Chinese down here. I believe or assume it is Chinese. This, I don't know what language that is, but yeah, there's some legal details here, and then ages 15 and up for the CT Toys. Medicom has more official logos and stuff. And at the bottom, a whole bunch of legal details. Warning sign, ages 15 and plus, ages 15 and plus here as well. You've got the hollow logo that is certifying or verifying that this is a official Mafex Medicom product. Serial number on the real one, no serial number on the fake one, and just some random stuff at the bottom. But cool, that's the packaging. So before we go any further, let's talk about the sponsors of today's video. If you're into prototyping, DIY projects, or full-blown product development, this is definitely for you. We're diving into something that has been a game changer for makers, engineers, and hobbyists worldwide. And that's the 3D printing and CNC machining services from PCBWay. Now, you've probably heard of PCBWay as a leader of custom PCB manufacturing, but did you know that they've massively expanded their services into 3D printing and CNC machining? It's not just about circuit boards anymore. Whether you're designing custom enclosures, mechanical parts, prototypes, or even functional end-use components, PCBWay offers a huge range of materials and finishes to bring your ideas to life. For example, I have printed these action figures you see here on PCBWay using their UTR 3000 resin. It's tough, precise, and ready for your action figure parts. You can also find links to the action figure base body I made available exclusively on PCBWay in my description below. The process is super simple. Upload your CAD files, choose your material, your surface finish, and get an instant quote. No need for endless emails or waiting around. With 3D printing, you've got options like SLA for high detailed resin prints, SLS for tough nylon parts, and FDM for affordable prototyping. And for CNC, they work with metals like aluminum, brass, stainless steel, and even plastics like ABS and POM. What really makes PCBWay stand out is their attention to detail, their fast turnaround times, and global shipping. No matter where you are, you can get professional grade parts delivered right to your doorstep. I've personally used PCBWay for several projects, and every time the quality has been top notch. From prototypes to production runs, they've got you covered. So if you're ready to take your projects to the next level, hit the link in the description below and check PCBWay out. Alright, so let's rip open the CT Toys version of this Batman. I did get two of these figures because I wanted to have a spare for a spare. Anyway, I just decided to get two. But here we have everything out of packaging. I'll get rid of this box. But that is what the packaging looks like. We've got the stand that kind of fell off at the back here. Very transparent, but not similar to what Mafex does. But I think still similar enough. I will get rid of that for now. It is presented pretty neatly, and the colors look pretty alright. I mean, it's standing in a really awkward pose, but that can be true for the official version as well. It has all the accessories you would expect in there that is copied from the original version, and also the gargoyle base, which was one of the reasons I got like the black version of Batman, because of the gargoyle base. I really wanted to display Hush and replicate the comic book cover kind of version of Hush. So that's what the base looks like. We'll get into more details later, but that's the base. It looks pretty cool. I think the peg might be slightly different because CT Toys use a different peg, but they've recreated it pretty well. It is light, but we haven't compared it to the other one, so we'll do that in a bit. But overall, it looks alright. We'll get the figure and the accessories out as well. So here we have a better look at the figure. I'm just worried that all of this will fall out. But let's look at the figure first. So general feel wise, everything feels pretty tight. Not authentic, but still just tight enough for you to be able to hold poses. I'm not going to be doing too much. I'm not going to be doing too much at this moment, because we'll go through that in a little bit. But yeah, that looks pretty accurate to what the Hush official version looks like. So that's a plus, I guess. That's a good thing. There is some weird painting going on here. There's a little bit of shading that's just there and not in the muscle details. Yeah, but that looks pretty legit. Like, I really like how this is looking so far. I don't know if buying KOs is a good thing or not. Probably not for Mafex or Medicom. But from what I can see, CT Toys have done a decent enough job with this figure. But that's first impressions. Let's look at the accessories that come with the figure. We've got extra head sculpt. I'll get the lighting to be facing us a little bit more. Extra head sculpt looks pretty decent and has decent paints. It's not too bad. There's not too many paint faults that I can see. We get a whole bunch of, I'll just pour it out. We get this accessory which came with the original as well. So that's the grappling hook that's shooting out, and it's on a solid metal piece. This does not, it's not bendy wire, so do not try to bend it. It does not feel bendy at all, but it does flex right back, so that's good. It's very rigid. We've also got the shorter grappling cable. We've got 2 grappling hook hands, and that's just copied from the original, so they look alright. They're painted a little bit sloppy because there's paint around the actual hand as well, silver paint, whereas silver should only be on the grappling hooks. We've got, alright, let me figure out which hand is which. So we've got the 2 cape holding hands here, and they're just solid black pieces, so no issues with paint, and they look pretty decent. We've got the 2 Batarang Wolverine style claw hands that have Batarangs stuck in them. Yeah, the Batarangs look a little bit weird and chunky. I'm not sure if that's what it's supposed to look like, but it does look a little bit weird. Paint slop is present slightly. It's not too bad, but we'll look at the original version to see if there's any paint slop on that. We also have these hands that are made for kind of holding, which look alright. We've got these open hands, and we've also got these relaxed hands. So the figure also comes with 2 pairs of Batarangs, so 4 Batarangs in total. We've got the sharper looking ones, which look decent. I mean, the ears are a little bit missing, and also the boomerang-ish looking ones, and these are also pretty good. The stand is a lot different from what Mafex manufactures, and also it comes on like a sprue, so I can just twist those off and then assemble, I guess, this part here. But it is a slightly different kind of base. So I put the stand together, and there was no issues like completing this thing. There are some air bubbles here, but it doesn't matter too much. Everything plugs in really well, and the stand is pretty tight. There are screws that you can use to tighten it further if you need, but it's a decent stand. Like, I don't mind it. I just don't like the plastic bits here that like form a grid pattern, and it's really visible because Mafex does not have like any grid pattern, so it's more seamless, but it's a small nitpick. So I've shuffled off all the KO parts to the right, the CT toys to the right, and we're gonna cut open the official Mafex version. The tape they use is just like a simple tape, whereas with CT toys it was a round tape, which I guess is just like a minor detail, and nobody's gonna get confused with the boxes anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but still wanted to point that out. Opening this box, I mean, the boxes are just cardboard, so there's no different feeling from one to the other than if you look at inside the box here, there is a image of Batman's belt and Batman from, I think, hopefully you can see that. There's a image of Batman in there. Lighting's probably not the best, so it's faintly visible, but there's a really cool image of Batman in there. I think it was used for one of the covers for Hush. So with this box, everything is packaged very similarly to CT Toys, but just has a little bit more real estate and not as compact, because if you look at the CT Toys box, Batman was standing really upright. Here, Batman has a little bit more room to breathe, so that's probably why everything looks a little bit bigger. More things are taped down here, whereas on the CT Toys, everything was just flimsy and floppy. We'll get, there's some tape here, I'll cut the tape. And we'll get this out of the packaging. But All right, so here we have the gargoyle base, and that looks cleaner in like a weird way. I mean, doesn't look too different from the fake one, but if we look at the fake one here, it does look a little bit darker. So that's like an ongoing theme. The fake one has more dark paints for some reason. Anyway, that's the fake one on the right here, and with the peg holes, it's really easy to tell because the Mafex one is a smaller peg hole, whereas the KO one has like a bigger peg. So yeah, that's the gargoyle base. But for something that's like, CT Toys was I think about 40 bucks. For them to include the gargoyle base, and that's 40 AUD, whereas the Hush Batman action figure from Mafex was I think 130 Australian dollars. So with that price difference, being able to pack this in is, I think, a really, really good achievement. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get other stuff out of the packaging. So we've got the stand here. I'm probably not going to take the stand out because I don't need it for the figure, and we've probably all seen Mafex stands. And I might have some spare ones if I want to pose it, but if I take it out, I'll let you guys know. So here we have the official Mafex Hush action figure, and there is more plastic in some areas here. So let's just get the drop down hinges going and pull that out. I could have done that a lot neater, but I chose not to for some reason, but that's all good. We'll get that out as best we can. Good, we didn't leave any remnants inside, so that's really, really good. The figure immediately feels a little bit smoother because I think with the CT Toys, there's a lot more clicking and it feels like more sticky plastic. I think that's the best way I can explain it. But this has a smoother feel to it a little bit. I think, yeah, we'll leave that aside for now because we've all seen that figure. It's amazing. All these accessories, but I'm not going to look at the accessories too much. Because that's not the main focus for this video. I feel like Mafex will obviously do accessories a little bit better, but in terms of comparison, if we look at the grappling hand, we can see that the official Mafex version has just a little bit more details, especially here. With the CT Toys, a little bit of detail probably is lost because of the recasting kind of process. So that's that. And also, yeah, with the Mafex figures, all of the hands, because this is version 2 of this figure's release. I think I missed version 1, and then for version 2 I ended up getting like 3 figures. And I'm not trying to scalp or anything, I just keep them because I really like the figure, and if anything was to happen to one, I have a spare one. Anyway, so with this kind of spiky hand here, or the Batarang hand, it looks like this is rounded off a little bit, whereas this is more straight and like edged, and the painting is a little bit better on the official Mafex one, but it's a minor detail. If you're looking at it from far away or on somebody's shelf, you'll hardly be able to tell the details, so in that sense we'll probably ignore that. But yeah, there's a lot of accessories here. The metal seems to be straighter on these ones as well, and the Batarangs are pretty much just lifted 1-to-1, so not too much differences there. Let's quickly look at the additional head sculpts and how they fare against each other. So with the official Mafex one, here we have it out of the box, and this is the CT Toys one. So there's a definite distinction, with the Mafex one having slightly darker colors on the teeth and the CT Toys having a more white kind of color. Doesn't look like there's too much else going on other than like the blacks being slightly different, with CT Toys being slightly more shiny, I'd like to say. But yeah, it's a lift. It's lifted from the Mafex figure, so I wouldn't expect it to be too different sculpt wise. Maybe just a little bit more softer because the sculpt has lost some details, but overall it looks alright. So I did decide to open up the stand for the Mafex version of Batman because I wanted to pose him so that we can have like comparison poses later on. And if you look at this, there are no bubbles in here, and also there is no transparent stand like with the CT Toys. The CT Toys is obviously a lot thinner, and although the peg is thicker, but it's a lot thinner of a stand, and it does come with this base part here, Whereas with the Mafex one, it doesn't come with the base part, probably because they expect you to just pose it on the gargoyle. Which I guess CT kind of wins that one because you have both options. You can either choose to pose it on the gargoyle or choose to pose it on this, whereas with the Mafex version, you're stuck with only the gargoyle option. So here we have both of the gargoyle bases fully set up, and I have to say, like, the Mafex one was a little bit loose when I took it out of the packaging. So there was nothing wrong with it because I could just tighten it down with like a screwdriver, but the CT toys came tighter, which, I mean, it's like a small thing. Also, the details look very similar, and even on the bottom, they look very similar. So here we have the two action figures standing next to each other, and the claims are true. CT Toys Batman Hush action figure, or Byman Hush action figure, whatever you want to call it, is actually true to scale in terms of sizing up with Mafex. So they are pretty similar in height. I can't see too much of a difference, and that is amazing to see because most times the KOs are usually a little bit smaller, but here they are exactly the same. Although you can see that this is a little bit more plasticky with the lights bouncing off of that a lot more than this one. It's a lot more matte, but yeah, it still looks like a really decent figure. Like if you had one or the other on the shelf, it might be hard to tell which one's which. In terms of differences, the belt is more yellow on this figure, whereas it's like a little bit more muted on this Batman from the Hush Mafex line. The cape is tucked in a little bit more, and it's draping over more with the Mafex figure. So that's that. I think both the parts are very soft. So Mafex is a little bit softer in terms of the bat fins here, whereas the CG Toys looks to be a little bit more rigid. The authentic figure kind of folded in a little bit for me, but yeah, they look very comparable to each other. Other than some painting differences, they look pretty good. There's some shading on the KO version as well, but it's not shaded as well as the authentic version, but that is to be expected. But yeah, I mean, other than the feel of the figure, and this feels a lot more plasticky and a lot less premium, I feel like they're pretty comparable. That's really surprising. The paints on the face, if you look at the authentic version, that looks a little bit more premium. It has like that scowl, and it looks very well painted. You can tell where the lips are. With this one, it's a lot harder to tell because the expression is a little bit lost, probably because of the paints. But yeah, man, I'm surprised. Like, CT Toys has done really well. So let's go through some articulation as well. The cape is wired for CT Toys. Sorry, I just keep getting distracted. The cape is wired for CT Toys as well, and the wires look to be very strong. I mean, the Mafex wire is done pretty well, so we will probably not take a look at that. So the back two wires are floating, and they are not anchored in like the front two wires. So they are just there for tweaking your poses, but they'll not actually hold the cape up. It is, I believe, the same with Mafex's version, where the back two wires are just floating around and not anchored anywhere. The front two wires are anchored into the chest piece here. Cool. All right, let's look at the articulation for the CT Toys version. So with the arms, they can come out slightly and go in. I don't know why I started with the arms. Let's try that again. So with the CT Toys articulation, let's look at the head first. Head can look up about that much, which is pretty decent. Can look down all the way, and that's the neck being engaged as well. So there is good range of motion, similar and comparable to the official Mafex version. No issues. Doesn't feel like it's gonna loosen up quickly. Still feels tight, but feels a little bit plasticky because there's like a little bit of sound going on. The arms can go all the way up and around. The butterfly can hinge in and out, and yeah, there's a little bit of weirdness going on, but it's not too bad. The arms can go straight up to about that much, and the biceps can fully rotate, similar to the Mafex. Double joint in the elbows can come up to about that much. Wrist can go all the way around, and we've got the hinge action happening. So yeah, I'm afraid that I'll break it because I've got it configured a little bit weird, but yeah, hinge action going on pretty well. Arms can easily pop on and off. We will try swapping the hands to see if the joints are compatible. The abs can go very, very deep, similar to the authentic version, and they can go that far back. Obviously the belt hinders that a little bit because it's running into the back muscles. But it's still really good. Side to side is really good, and there is good hula hooping all the way around. The belt is a free piece in the front, only connected to the back here, similar to the authentic version. The drop down hinges can go that much. Did you hear that? Like there's a little bit of squeaking going on, and I think that's the only thing that makes it feel a little bit more plasticky. But it can go all the way down, and a Batman can kick up about that much, which is decent. He's got a little bit of a thigh articulation up here, so there's a little bit of swivel going on, a double joint in the knees, and it's squeaky. And the toes can go the toes can fold up. That's a little tight. Toes can fold up, and then the ankle can go up and down. Very squeaky, and there's good pivot. So with the actual Hush Mafex version, the articulation is a lot smoother and does not make squeaky noises. I think that's one thing to note. I'm not going to articulate the whole thing because we've seen like 100 different videos of people articulating these. The knee joints, if you look at that, so this has like a seam line running right in the middle, whereas this is a lot less prominent, which is I think a good thing for Mafex. But it just adds to that premium feel. Like these are very, very close in terms of just the action figure scale, size, how they function, all of that. But Mafex just has like slight things that it's doing to maintain that more premium kind of feel. The color being one, there's less gappage in the joint. So if you look at the joint, elbow joint here, it looks more seamless, whereas the elbow joint here has more gappage. And you can see the metal kind of rivets shining through. So it just looks a little bit less premium. But I think if you did not get the chance to pick up the official version, this is a great alternate to have. Something I wanted to really check is, so this is the authentic version. I'm going to take off the hands and see if I can swap them over. The reason I wanted to do that is because if the wrist joint on the official version break, then these are pretty good alternates. I think with the elbows and the knees, it will be good alternates as well. There might be slight color differences, so you might need to paint it up to make it look alright. But you can basically get different parts just to make sure that if you break something on the official version, you can use this as spare parts if you want or need. Let's try it out with the head sculpt as well. So I'm just putting the official hand back where it belongs. This is the official head. We're gonna take it off and we're gonna swap it over with so another thing I noticed while I was doing that swap is that the official version has pointier ears. Not that that matters, it just has that pointy kind of ear feel, so it probably got rounded when they were recasting the part, but that's neither here nor there. The joint looks very similar, which is good. And can I pop that in? Having a little bit of trouble. Let's try again. Oh. All right, the head sculpt might not be compatible for a swap, which is pretty weird. Let's try the KO version on the authentic. Yeah, so the head swap does not really work. Maybe the parts are slightly different. I mean, the pegs look to be very similar in actually, if you look at the KO version, the pegs might be slightly smaller, which would explain why I couldn't swap the heads. So the head swap is a no-go. If you look at the neck here, the peg is a little bit longer on this one. It could just be how it's configured, but it just feels like it's a little bit longer on this one. But yeah, I'm just gonna port the right neck or the right headpiece back to the right figure, and we'll get to the conclusions. So conclusion time, I think that CT Toys have delivered a pretty good action figure. Considering that it is a knockoff action figure, there is basically no shrinkage. I could not see any shrinkage. The paints are slightly different and the Mafex has a more premium feeling paint. But in terms of articulation, sculpts, having that shelf presence, you will get everything on the CT Toys figure as well. It does come in at a lot cheaper of a price as well. But there is some plasticky feeling to it, and it might not last as long as the official Mafex figure. However, it might be a good option to purchase the CT Toys figure if you need spare parts for your official Mafex figure in case you broke like a wrist or an elbow or a knee, something like that. It could be used as alternate parts. So there is that. I think that is one of the benefits I can see straight out the box. I do have most of the Mafex figures from Mafex Authentic, so I still prefer the Mafex ones. But if you want a budget option, CT Toys is not a bad go. So there you have it. That is the video, guys. I hope you found this entertaining and useful in some way. Both of these are really good figures. I definitely recommend the Mafex figure more because it feels that much more premium. But at the price point of 130 Australian dollars versus 40 Australian dollars for the CT Toys, is it worth, or is it that different in terms of quality? Maybe, maybe not. But yeah, I think ultimately for me, the Mafex figure is what started my obsession with wanting to recreate it and make like a action figure line of my own. So I have a really deep love and respect for the Mafex figures. But what CT's done here is pretty phenomenal as well at the price point. So if you want spare parts, that's where you get it in case you break something. But yeah, it's a really good figure nonetheless. So that's the video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully it's something that I've done in terms of like 3D printing. So I'll see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching.